Hey everyone, I'm off work for the next 3 weeks, and while I don't want to start a vlog for the whole 3 weeks, I want to vlog the first week because I'm not going anywhere in the first week and I do have a lot of things that I want to get done and I want to address. While it is very tempting to just spend the time and focus on reading and resting, I really would like to deal with other things where a week of vacation or a weekend never was enough. So this is sort of a mix of an accountability vlog and a lot of reading that hopefully gets done as well. So one of the things that I want to prioritize in the first week of my vacation is to deal with the clutter corners that I've been wanting to deal with for maybe years already and never get around to. I just look at them and I'm already exhausted. Looking at those areas in my office right now, I'm already exhausted thinking about it. But I hope that if I vlog about it and I try to have an accountability of it, I will get it done this time. And I know I will feel better afterwards. And I know that I will have 2 more weeks after this week of vacation to rest and relax. So there should be no shortage of time so that I can invest in that. Another thing I want to deal with is think about where I am, where I stand, especially considering work and what I want out of it. You know that my position has changed, and since June I've been in a new team. It's the same people mostly. It's just in the department a different team, and most of my tasks have shifted. Currently, nothing is really stable yet. It's very insecure. We don't really know what we have to do and what we're going to do for a long time. So I'm kind of feeling that I'm being made redundant, which is a strange feeling after being so indispensable for a long time. So I've been dealing with too many students, too many study programs in the past. That's why I've been always so exhausted. But now I don't really know what I do. I'm mostly mentoring the new colleagues and am printing certificates, which is kind of nice because it's not that much stress, but I also don't know if it's that much of a rewarding task for a long term. So I don't really know what I want to do. So I really want to sit down and look at all the clues and goal setting things and all the stuff I know around that to really think about that and maybe just shift perspective on the job so that I enjoy it more and don't find it so exhausting in the future going on. At the moment, I find it very relaxing to not be stressed. Another thing I want to get started on is the Korean again. I know it's like a broken record. I always want to do it, but I never do it. But I really want to give it a try to really take this time to make it into a habit so that I get started on it again. I used to be pretty good in the beginning when I started with the 90-day Korean, but currently I'm due to exhaustion at work. I never really found a perfect time in the day when to do the lessons. So I need to review quite a lot, and I really want to get started on reviewing regularly and pick up the program and the courses daily. And that's what I want to achieve in this first week, that I pick it up again. There's a hurdle of picking it up again and getting started. I don't know where that comes from, but I should have enough time to do all of that. And I also should have enough time to talk about books that I'm reading. Up there, that's my TBR stack. And I would like to make a dent in it, but I don't want to prioritize it this week. But I will tell you about the books that I've been reading, I think, when I finished them, so that you don't get snippets throughout the vlog, but you get the final thoughts. I'm currently reading 2 books that are very similar, so that's not a smart idea. Okay, I'm in the park and I just finished The Premonition by Yoshimoto. And it's a short book. It's about 130 pages. I read it in 2 days. I really enjoyed the writing, but I'm not really sure about the story. I've read quite a lot of books by Yoshimoto, and I really like her writing style, how she writes about people, how she characterizes people, how she brings out their thoughts and their emotions and their growth in their books. This book is all about a young woman, 19, 20 years old, and she feels that she doesn't really fit, that something is off, and that she doesn't remember things from her past, from her childhood. And in this book, a lot of the things come back, and she often has premonitions, or she used to have a lot more premonitions than she has now. This feeling of knowing what will happen. And all of that is fine. All of that is really well done. I really like the characters, the character descriptions, and how things evolve. A lot of it is spoilers, but all of the parts that are also spoilers are the parts where I'm like, why did she make these decisions? Why did she have to have the people that the characters care about be like that? And I'm not exactly sure I like that. And since it's spoilers, it's really spoilers. It would ruin the surprise and the twists and the turns in the story. But I don't know if it's necessary. I don't know if she could have told this story without you making these decisions. It's an interesting question. And I think it's also a question if she would have written the same story nowadays. I think it was originally written in Japanese in the 1980s. Where things were a little bit different in some ways. Not that much, but I think today, I'm not sure if that would be the first choice that you make if you write a story. Anyways, I enjoyed the writing. I'm glad I finally read it. It's been on my TBR since the English version came out a month ago. So that's done. I'm going to enjoy a little bit more of the sun before I go home. I started the day off fine with reading in bed. My ebook that I'm currently reading is A Perfect Day to Be Alone. It's not a day, it's actually a year, and you get 4 parts, all the 4 seasons. I've read 3 seasons so far. The 4th season is what I'm going to finish tomorrow. It's a nicely spaced book about a young woman moving out of her mother's house into living with an old woman, and I'll tell you more about it. That's not what I wanted to talk about now. What I wanted to talk about is that I went running afterwards. I listened to the ending of Stardust Grail again because I really didn't understand it, and I'm still not quite sure if I understand it. And then I wanted to get started on my day with all the plans I had of things I wanted to do today. Among others, refilm the wrap-up that I filmed yesterday. I think I'm finally at a space, or at a mind frame space, where I can invest more time into things again and have more energy. But then I sat down to breakfast and I don't know what was wrong, but I'm totally drained of energy right now, and all I want to do is sit down and read. But I also don't want to use the footage I have of yesterday's wrap-up because it's basically me forgetting about all the things that happened in books. Rambling and rambling and rambling. And I know you are really kind and always watch these things and say nice things about that, but I don't think that's what I want to do. I want to be more eloquent about the books again. I want to talk about the books that I read and tell you and get you to read them. But I kind of feel that I'm not doing that well. And I wanted to sit down, take some notes about the books that I've read so that I'm reminded again of what happened. Because August basically, I don't know what happened, but I feel like I'm losing my mind, or rather my memory, because I keep forgetting everything. And I am frustrated with that. And I'm also frustrated with myself being really not in the mood or any energy frame space to do anything of the things that I wanted to do today. I wanted to start on decluttering the office, and I had a plan of what to do. I wanted to get started on reviewing Korean, and I really had made a plan of what to do to have a nice day, productive day, and also have fun times. And now I'm just tired and exhausted and frustrated, and I don't like that. So, and that's my washing machine in the background. I was motivated to redo my bed sheets. Now I have my bed without sheets, and I have to redo that. And no energy. This is annoying. Sorry about that. Next update, hopefully about more fun things. Maybe I'll get to do things. Like I said, accountability vlog. 6 p.m. The accountability vlog is working. After venting to you, I managed to make myself do a few things. I didn't do any of the decluttering, but I took care of the laundry. I opened up my Korean program and did some reviews, which is a hurdle that I've overcome. So let's hope I can overcome it for the next few days as well. I also went out and started a new book. I'm about 50 pages in, sat in a cafe, had some reading fun time, and that was nice. And now I'm trying to overcome another hurdle and edit the wrap that I also refilmed. So the wrap up for August. And I need to get a little bit more flexible or out of the routines that I built to get myself through the day. I find that sometimes I think they're a hindrance nowadays, but I don't know if they're a hindrance or if it's just that I'm too inflexible with all the technology problems and issues that I need to solve, which I will not be able to do anytime soon, because as soon as I think about solving all the technical issues with the broken computers and everything else, I'm just exhausted thinking about it. So I don't know. I need to find a different way to the editing process than I currently have, and some routines in the evening that need to change. But not for tonight to change all of that. I'm going to give up. I'm currently rewatching The X-Files. It's very easy. In the background, I don't need to pay attention. I haven't ever fully watched the whole series. I watched it while it was on TV. I've never been a really big fan, and I'm not going to become a big fan because a lot of the overarching conspiracy theory is annoying to me. But it's easy entertainment, and I don't have to think about too much while I'm watching. So that's good. And that's another vacation day done. Let's see what I get done tomorrow. Let's procrastinate cleaning up this mess a little bit more. Honestly, I really need to do this. It is annoying me, and it's probably just an hour, and I don't know what's wrong, why I don't do it. So, accountability, trying to get myself to talk myself into doing this. But before that, I wanted to tell you about A Perfect Day to Be Alone. I finished the book this morning, like I mentioned yesterday. It's a book that's told in seasons. We follow this young woman, 20 years old. Her mother moves to China for a job, and so she moves to Tokyo. She doesn't want to go to university, so she just does some part-time jobs at various situations. She moves in with this older woman who's an acquaintance of the family, and she's in her 70s, and they live together in a rather non-committal situation. The book is very quiet and calm, following this young woman trying to figure out what life is, how life is supposed to work out, how she views herself as being rather nasty. We see herself being really mean sometimes to the woman, to the older woman she's living with, and how she portrays or how she sees and thinks about the two men she's with during the time of the book, and how she's trying to figure out what love is, how that actually works. She's really trying to figure out how life works and is not really enjoying it as much as she's supposed to, and things like that. So nothing much happens. It's very quiet and calm, like I said, but it's more looking and juxtaposing those two women who live together, the young 20-year-old woman and the older 70-year-old woman, and their lives and their view on life and how they interact and what they do. I really enjoyed that. It's a very short read. It's, I think, 130 pages or something, so you can really fly through it and enjoy what it shows you. I also liked how she wasn't really sure what she wanted to do and took this year to basically try out things, test things, and in the end, she's moving out. That's when the book ends, with her moving out and having a permanent job situation, and it looks like life is taking a turn for the better and things are changing, but we don't see that. We see the year before where she's trying to find herself. Highly enjoyed it. Now we have to clean. I don't want to clean. I went outside. After doing some cleaning and some reading, I started to feel sad. So I decided to go out, as I haven't left the house all day, and go on a walk. Also, to finish the episode of Mel Robbins' podcast that's accompanying the workbook of What Do I Want? And I told you before, one of the goals for the vacation is to figure out what I want, to set priorities, goals, and everything. Because as work is changing and the pressure is decreasing, I have time for other things again. I can feel that mind space is coming back and I can do other things, but I don't know what I want.
And listening to this is basically the idea here is you start with something, then you ask a lot of questions why you want that, and then you just figure out what you really want. I think that's the main idea behind that. I still haven't done the workbook, still need to do that. But I don't even have a starter wand. Not really. Nothing good at least, or realistic. So I'm not sure how that is going to work out. We'll tell you how it keeps going.
Let's be honest, if I hadn't agreed to meet a friend to go running at 9 a.m. this morning, I might not have gotten out of bed. It's very nice today and the run was very good, but I'm feeling very meh, let's say it like that. So it was good to have an appointment to get out of bed and start the day instead of just staying in bed, sleeping, reading, which usually makes me feel worse. And so I've decided to give everything a little bit of a go. I'm not motivated at all for anything today. So I was tempted to do nothing or just spend the day reading. And I know it sounds nice, but I know I won't feel good if I do that. So I did some laundry. I actually vacuumed and took care of a lot of spider webs that showed up again. And then I even managed to do a few lessons in the Korean program. I'm still reviewing. I forgot so much. It's unbelievable how much I have forgotten of what I've already learned and was able to do. But that's what you get for not using the program for weeks. Anyways, so I did that. So now it's 1:15 and I think I'm good for now. I've tried a lot of things that I want to have done and want to get to in a day and on my vacation. So now I'm going to go into town, pick myself some food to go, and then I'll spend the afternoon at Mashti for as long as I can, have a picnic and read. Honestly, how can this day feel like a waste of time? It's Friday evening, or night rather, and I feel like I totally wasted today despite having had a good day. I got up, even though I didn't want to, but I did some exercise. I sat on my exercise bike a little bit. Then I went and had coffee with my neighbor for basically the whole morning. Came home, had some lunch, did some Korean, went for a walk. Well, I did go to the supermarket and pick up my bike that I had to have fixed. And then I got home, took a nap because I was so tired and out of it and was frustrated. Oh, I forgot. I was really frustrated with my audiobook. It's an annoying chemistry narration. It's more romance than fantasy, and part of the annoying romance where you definitely just get attractiveness to looks and no reasons or whatever, and basically you're not even going into it but questioning why you're so attracted to that guy. Just go with it. I mean, honestly, yeah. Anyways, I got home, took a nap or something. I don't think I slept. I was just exhausted and tired because I'm really having an insomnia day today. And then I watched 2 nice movies. I don't know what's wrong with the day. It's nothing. So why do I feel like I wasted it? Maybe because I didn't finish a book. But that was not the goal of the week. Anyways, let's see how tomorrow goes.
Seriously, it takes a lot to discourage me and make me DNF because of romance and sex talk. But this is unbearable. I'm listening to Nine-Tailed, and I thought it was fantasy with the romance on the side. That's okay. But this is more stupid romance with a little bit of fantasy on the side. The romance basically is the nine-tailed fox completely head over heels and just for his looks lusting after him since the first chapter. And it's so annoying. And how they finally decided, oh yeah, let's do it. After, I don't know how many chapters. And still she's like, but it's not real. We shouldn't do this. Oh, I want it, but I don't want to have a relationship. God, how stupid. Stupid. And it's just too much. I'm going to look for another audiobook to finish my run. How bad does this have to be?
Saturday evening and I finished another book. Let's briefly talk about The Invasion of the Spirit People by Juan Pablo Villalobos. And I've read books by the author before, but I didn't know he published anything else. So I was surprised when I saw this and saw that it was published a few years ago already. I highly enjoyed it. I love the cover, by the way. It's not a very big read, it's a fast read. It's written in a way that you're just thrown into the story and part of the story. The first chapter basically is the narrator telling us what we as a reader are going to expect and what is going to happen. So we know that we are following Gaston and his dog Kitten throughout the book, and Gaston's friend Max and his son Paul. And that's what we're in for. The whole book is very neutral in naming places. So we're talking of the peninsula, the colonies, the ex-colonies, the local language, and the Far East, the Far West, but we don't get any place names so that we're 100% sure who's they are talking about and whose identity these people belong to. And that's part of the whole story. The whole story plays with the idea of being other, coming somewhere and making a living, becoming part of this new place or not becoming part of the new place. It's all about migration, about belonging, about borders and things like that. The story mostly follows, like we know from the beginning, Gaston and his dog Kitten, who is sick and about to die, so Gaston has to deal with that. And on top of that, his friend Max has shut down a little bit after he lost his restaurant in, let's say, sort of a scam, but not really a scam. It's a little bit portrayed as a scam. And now he doesn't really know what to do, and his way of dealing with things is playing a sweetie game on his phone. And it's also never named, so that's a fun part. His son Paul is a scientist who actually has to work in the tundra somewhere researching some bacteria, but he ran away from his job and is telling some paranoid stories about aliens. So this is all that is going on, and we are in the middle of that. And I like how we're included as the reader into the story because the narrator keeps telling us what's going on, makes connections, explains things, and also sometimes says, okay, we're going to step aside and leave the people alone. I also like how it is portraying the change of a place with people coming and going and what it does to the people, and how easy a shift in the situation can change moods and sensitivities and jealousy and envy, how that is coming up, how success and failure and perceived betrayal can make you feel. What I really liked about the book, though, is how it never manipulates your feelings. It's giving you neutral and light-hearted presentations of what's going on, what is happening, but it leaves you to decide how you feel about that, which side you're going to take, if you want to take sides, or if you feel upset on behalf of the characters, what's happening to them and how they interact. And it's really interesting to see how Gaston moves frequently between all the different parties, let's say, like that, and doesn't really want to take sides. They want to force him to do so, but it doesn't seem like he actually wants to take sides. He just likes everyone to be there, be friends, and deal with things in a professional and business-like manner. But that sometimes is not possible. And that's what I really enjoyed. The way you are part of the story, the way you observe the characters, you can tell, or how you can see how emotions are boiling up and where things go, and you can recognize it because we've all been places or live in places where the local and the other clash, and it was very interesting to read. Highly recommended. Other than that, I didn't do much today. I got out of bed late because I was tired. I didn't sleep well again, and I went for a run, which I shouldn't have done because I went late and it's been hot lately, so the weather was already about 27 or 8 degrees Celsius, so it's a little bit too hot to run in a fun way. It's the hotter it gets, the more exhausting it is. So that's why I run early mornings, and I love to run early mornings, but the air wasn't that good to run. And me being exhausted, it was an even more exhausting run. So when I got home, I basically was too exhausted to do anything and napped and read, watched YouTube, had some food, but didn't really do anything much on my to-do list. Unless you count what I did before my run, because I had this printer that I hadn't been using for ages. It's been just collecting dust. And I managed to put it outside for someone else to take away, and when I returned from my run, it was already gone. So that's some positive karma points. I made someone happy and I got rid of the thing. That's good. Tomorrow, Sunday, last day of the vlog. I'll finish the audiobook I started today after abandoning Nine-Tailed, which really annoys me. Honestly, it annoys me that it rubbed me so wrong. I was really looking forward to read about this story. I like stories about nine-tailed foxes. Anyways, so tomorrow I'm going to Bremen for lunch, and that's going to be a lot of reading time, and other than that, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, but finishing one more book for the vlog, and then we'll see how well I've done on all the other accountability things. Rambling's cutting off, and making food now. Monday afternoon, I finished the last book a little bit later than I had anticipated. Yesterday on the train I kept falling asleep, so it wasn't worth listening to it, and I was just too exhausted, and today I'm exhausted. So let's talk about the book first and then sum up how well I did with my accountability to-do list things for the first week of vacation. So what was the last book I listened to? It was Dr. No by Percival Everett. Now, I've never read anything by Percival Everett before, and honestly, I'm not that interested. I know he's very popular and successful, but for some reason I'm not drawn to the things that he writes about. Dr. No, I had never heard of before, and I mainly only got it because it was for free in the Audible catalog, and I was curious about Percival Everett's writing, and it was short. All the good reasons to get a book, right? The book is narrated by Walla Kitu, who is a math professor who specifies in nothing and also describes himself as being on the spectrum. And his narration is hilarious. The book starts off with Walla meeting John Sild, who is a rich man who wants to be a supervillain, a James Bond kind of villain, and compares himself a little bit to Dr. No. And then things happen. Basically, the villain wants to hire the math professor for nothing. Well, they want to rob Fort Knox, but they expect there to be nothing, and that's the whole story, more or less. And I must say, a lot of the conversations when it's in the math specifics or things had me lost, but it is hilarious. The story is a supervillain story. Someone has to do some things. There are events happening. They're okay. But what mostly got me about the book and what I enjoyed the most is the wordplay. The way the word nothing and nothing as an object is used and what happens. And also it's a little bit making fun of the James Bond villainy trope and superhero trope and the government being in secret agent stuff and following people. It's hilarious. It's just hilarious. It was a quick audiobook. You had to pay attention. I'm pretty sure I didn't get everything, but I really enjoyed it, and the writing was well done. So I guess if I were more into the topics that Percival Everett writes about, I'd be more inclined to read his books. Anyways, that were all the books I read in the first week. I think I had a very successful reading week. I liked that despite everything I had planned and that I didn't want to focus on reading too much, I also got a lot of reading in my days. That was nice. I'm also quite happy with everything that I achieved during the first week of vacation that I set out to do. I'm not completely 100% finished with the decluttering and cleaning of the office space, but I got the things that annoyed me most done, so that is good. Took me only months to get to it. Then there are also some minor areas in the kitchen that need some addressing to that I didn't get to, but I'm also not so bothered that I didn't get that done. I managed to get the language learning started again. The thing is, every time I pick it up, I enjoy it and I like doing it, but then I keep forgetting to do it. So I have to see if I can keep that up during the next 2 weeks of vacation, especially since I'm traveling Wednesday to Tuesday. I'm going to London. I don't know if I mentioned that. Anyways, so I'm happy with that. I'm not quite happy with how exhausted I am. Yesterday I told you I met my family in Bremen for lunch, and I was so overwhelmed by people that I was really exhausted when I got home. And today I couldn't get out of bed, and I feel like I'm getting more and more exhausted. So I feel that the next few days I shouldn't plan too much and take it a little bit slower and focus more on reading and catching up on series. Thank you for watching and being my accountability group. I would like to know if you have heard of any of the books I talked about, if you read any of them, if you can recommend things similar. What have you been up to? And also, thank you for sticking around till the end if you're still here. Bye-bye.